What's going on, everybody? Listen, we are back. We're back. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. Welcome to the whole cast. It's the after party, guys. Y'all give yourselves a hand. So real quick, we're going to go around the table. We got Mike Cullen. We've got Alicia. We got Jeremiah. We've got Tierra. We've got Big Keith over here. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. This lovely light-skinned lady is...
Cherie Brooks Jr.
And towing the line... Yes, Junior. There's a whole situation behind it. She took the whole thing, Alfred. Ladies and gentlemen from Forever Duncan, we got my brother Alfred right here. Alfred, thank y'all. Y'all give yourselves a hand. Good to see you. Good to see you. So listen...
I know what Junior's...
Yeah, so tell them the story, babe.
He's Glenn P. Brooks Jr., and so when we got married, I took his whole name.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm not married to Glenn P. Brooks Sr., so just to make sure everybody understands.
Everybody understands.
I thought you were named after somebody. It's like, she doing that?
So in a world, guys, where women and men get married, and for a lot of reasons, women don't take their husbands' names, we have some understandings that we have a couple in our group, that was married for 5 years, and she refused to take his name because at that point she didn't realize where the relationship was going. Wow. And it was tough for her to even say, you know what, I'm all the way in. So there's a whole bunch of things. For those of you guys
you got to get it in, though. But she has taken his name now.
Yes, she has taken his name now. Wow. After coming through our group, she's taken his name. She surprised him at his birthday party last year, and she redid her license. She redid her nameplate on her door at the job. She would the whole thing. She did the whole, and she gave it to him in little gifts. Every gift had a different representation of her name. So we didn't mean to open up this way, guys. This is the after party, but this is good. So we did a talk, Keith, about your brand new book, Side Chickology. And for those of you guys who didn't get a chance to check out last week's, or I don't know when we're going to actually air this, but the part one to this, we brought Keith on, and we actually came to the DMV to connect with my brother because of the importance of the subject matter that you're writing about. And I'm going to give a quick backstory. So I've known Keith for over 30 years, and he has been, I believe, a pioneer to many of us cats who all of us were coming up same time in youth ministry, different things. And Keith always was a little bit more educated. At least he came across that way than the rest of us. We didn't sound that smart. I'll put it that way. And it's funny, but we all looked at Keith as just a mentor, and you've always had wisdom, brother, as far as I'm concerned, real talk, beyond your years, man. And it's come out in this book, and you have always been that guy who would be transparent, who would be real, authentic, would tell you what it really is. And in this book, Side Chickology, as a pastor, you decided to stand up and be very vulnerable and put your truth and then the psychology behind why men and women cheat into a book. Talk to us a little bit about the impact that it's had so far, and where would you like to see it go?
Well, I'd like to see it save 1 million marriages. I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see it's got a lot of traction now. The book has got a lot of attention across cultures, which is interesting to me, because infidelity is not a cultural issue. It's universal.
Yeah.
Right.
It's in politics. It's in corporate America. It's in the C-suite. It's in the hood.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's in the church.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
So I'm excited about that. And one of the things that I think is very important about, as you say, the psychology of the book, right? Think about this. There's a lot of statistics that I'd like to share in the after party that we didn't get to in the main session.
Sure.
But one of the things that shocks people is this fact, and I was talking to Jeremiah about this after the main session that we had, and I said, you know what, the problem with infidelity is that it never stops with close calls. It only stops with catastrophe.
Wow.
Right.
You have to get caught.
Wow.
I think the people don't understand that. It never stops with close calls. People think, okay, you get a close call. You almost got caught.
Yeah.
In fact, your spouse asks you, who is that? Oh, you know. You always got stuff in your head. You always trying to make stuff up.
That was key from State Farm.
Right. That's, you know me and Sean went to fourth grade together.
Right.
Your mind is dirty.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
You're doing right here.
Because 95% of people who are confronted with infidelity deny it.
Right.
You say, well, why would they just lie like that? Because if you've been in hiding mode for months, weeks, years, you don't just say, got me.
Yeah.
Right.
No, ain't nobody like that. That's you? No, that ain't me. That wasn't me.
wasn't me.
That wasn't me. That ain't me.
Song
The
about
Holy
it, wasn't
Spirit does. You think that's me because that look exactly like me? Don't mean that's me.
Everybody got twins.
They thought we was twins all our life.
So people go and lie.
Yeah.
You got to have evidence.
Yeah.
So they don't need confronting the person with you think. You got to have evidence because they gonna lie. Because see, they've also been hiding with another person.
Right.
Absolutely.
So they haven't had a chance to let the other person know.
Absolutely.
Hey, they on to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff going
Yeah.
on. So you say, well, should I even bring it up? Should I even say anything? You can because they're not going to stop until they get caught.
Right.
Trust me.
Guys.
You can have a close look at David.
No. Had to
Look at Samson.
all the way out there.
You got to get caught. You got to lose your eyes.
Yeah,
You got
yeah,
to
yeah,
be on
yeah,
TV.
yeah.
You got to be all that. You got to lose your family.
Be on the show.
You got your wife got to be out there with a knife chasing women, water and all that. It's
love it.
It's such an addictive.
Right.
It's such an addictive
It is.
environment.
Right.
You said yourself during our general session, our main session, like you knew it was emotionally based. It
Yes.
was relationally based,
100%.
but you couldn't stop it.
100%.
And when you're a Christian, by the way, when you're a Christian man, and Jeremiah also talked about this as well, when you have any type of moral conviction in you, even though there is no Christian lust and no secular lust.
Okay.
There's no Christian erection and a secular
Come on,
erection.
bro. Let's break. Hey,
We
we y'all didn't know we Christian wet.
Right.
We gonna keep it all the way
secular
wet.
wet.
Bro, come
you
on.
either erect and wet,
Or you not.
You just like that. So we feel the same things. We feel the same things as everybody else.
100%.
The difference is when we're done.
Yep.
Right,
Ooh,
right.
Yep.
After the orgasm,
There's a conviction.
oh my! And the conviction is stronger than the horniness.
It's real.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you go into a deep depression. Like I did this, I can't believe I put everything at risk. I can't believe it. I'm back here
God,
again.
forgive me. Now
But
you're on
by
1 John
Tuesday-
1:9 hard.
Right.
And you say, Lord Jesus, please, I know, Lord, please help me. Jesus,
But
help
in
me.
48 hours,
Come on now. You back at it again.
where you at?
You right back there again.
Because
Talking about God know my heart.
we don't know the why behind it.
Right.
What am I really trying to compensate
Yeah,
for here?
absolutely.
And for me, I wasn't having any fun in my life. I just did church and home.
Yep.
So if you don't have a balance of fun in your life, that little escape will become. You got to give your man a chance to go bowling.
100%.
Go to the gym, do
100%.
something. You got to have a life outside of you and the kids.
100%.
You got to have that
100%.
because if you doesn't have some balance, fun in his life, you just got him going to church.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Yeah.
he work and he
That's
with the
it.
kids.
That's it.
You better find something else. You better play Monopoly.
Right. And that's the
Like
same for
Jenga
women
or
too.
something.
Right. Women need to have an outlet too.
I agree.
Because if you're just going to work every day, you come home, you tend to the family, and you don't have something that you do outside of that leaves you open for other things because there's
Come
a part of
on.
you that's missing. There's a void.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's going to get filled some way or another.
Absolutely. So, guys, listen really quickly. We're going to do this a little bit differently when we do our normal sessions with Breakfast with the Brookses. For those of you guys who don't know, please connect with us at thecrcoach.com. We'll put it in the chat. We're here live engaging you. So do me a huge favor and ask questions if you are in this, if you have friends or loved ones who are in this situation. We're going to make light of some things for the conversation's sake. It's not for shock value. It's so that it's a little bit more palatable. Because here's what I know to be true. When you caught up in this is a vicious cycle, and it's real, and it's very painful. We've got couples here at this table and folks that are here who've gone through this. When I look at Mike and Alicia and I look at y'all's journey, I look at Jeremiah and Tiara, Alfred, you guys know what this process looks like and how to work your way back to being your authentic selves and be able to show up flat-footed and do what needs to be done. I want to just have a general conversation. The last time that we talked about just this notion of how men, Alfred, really were not, it wasn't modeled how we should show up and be sensitive. Right? It's not celebrated for us to show up and be vulnerable.
Right.
And so oftentimes the help that we need escapes us because we're not allowed to, first of all, look like we need help. We certainly are not allowed to ask for it. And we certainly are not allowed to say, this is where I'm at, like I'm struggling here.
Right.
You and I have shared a similar story in being raised by women. Talk to us a little bit about just being able to step into your authentic self so that you could do the work on you to be the best you in your relationship possible and help when it comes to anything relative to infidelity and how that will help men.
Well, I think that, it's very similar to working on your relationship or your marriage. I think that most men don't decide to work on themselves until something detrimental happens.
Yeah.
Which is, unfortunate. However, I think that if enough men are bold enough to address it prior to that, then it will look cool.
Yeah.
And then everybody will be okay with doing it because as you stated, we don't speak out because we don't feel like we can.
Yeah.
We suppress it because we feel like we have to. But I mean, if you look at the suicide rate, 75% of the people who commit suicide are men.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's because we hold it all in.
Yeah. Right.
However, if I talk to Jeremiah and I let him know that this is what I'm going through, if I tell enough people and I see that, okay, we're similar, then it gives me a sense of confidence to be able to share that.
Love it.
So I think that we as a community of men need to create our own safe spaces and not wait for a woman to do it. We have to create our own so that we can come together and understand, you going through what I'm going through.
Yeah. This ain't just me.
And I think that we'll be better off.
Yeah, I love that, Alfred. I know, Mike, when you went through what you and Alicia have now come through, y'all been married 22 years, and it hasn't always been easy. And I know that you guys were stuck for a very long time because you were just stuck. You didn't recognize the traps and the things that were held you there. How has it helped you to be able just to, and how have you developed the kind of confidence to speak up and speak into where you really are, and how does this help ward against? Because we're talking about, Keith, understanding this thing, and we're talking about being able to heal from this thing, because this is real. How does that inform your healing process, Mike?
I think you said it before. It's nothing that you just jump out of. So for me, we'll be 23 years this August, and I now realize that we still go through stuff. It's an ongoing battle for me. In the relationship and internally. I still fight with the fact that while I did meet my dad at age 37, he died a few years after that. There's still some uncharted water in that relationship. There are siblings that I have that I still need to do. So as regarding like us and our relationship, there are things that have happened throughout our married lives that I look at and I still ponder and question. How can I actually take that and use it to help me? I don't know if that's
no. I love
your
it.
question, but I'm still learning. Every day is a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here and I'm hearing stuff from Keith, from you, from Alfred, Jeremiah, and realizing that everything that we do, every person that we come across in our life is a lesson, within our own books.
Yes. I love that.
I think. For me, just the growth has been understanding that although we've been married 22, 23 years, I don't have to be at a certain space.
Right.
That's good.
And I understand that now, and I'm comfortable with that, knowing that we've been married for a while, but we still have a lot of room to grow.
I love that. Cherie?
Right. I think that one thing that hurts relationships is that old mindset, what goes on in this house stays in this house. I think people will go through stuff and they want to try to work on it themselves instead of seeking help, instead of talking. Now, you can't talk to fools.
Right.
You don't need to just talk to anybody and tell them your business.
Right.
But I think that you have to open up and surround yourself around other people that you can share what it is you're going through to get, because even the conversation we're having today, each one of you are given a different piece.
Yeah.
And so, but if I decide I'm going to just keep this to myself and we're going to just figure it out on our own, we're going to just work through this without any outside help, you only have your perspective that you're going by. And so you have to open up your perspective by letting other people in.
Right.
But they have to be safe people.
Right.
And I just want to stress that.
Right.
You can't talk to your girlfriend that's single, that's out in the club every week, that's, doing her thing, or, or you that's doing that, that's doing all that. Right. Right. You don't need him, no way. Just leave him.
I'm just saying.
Right. That ain't who you want to talk talk to, and guys, you don't want to talk to your boy that's out there in the club picking up women every week.
You don't need that.
Right, you got to make sure you're talking to somebody safe, but I think that opening yourself up to get that additional support will help you go through those things, because when you try to do it on your own, that mindset has killed so many relationships.
I believe that,
what goes on in this house, stay in this house, and y'all gonna stay in that mess y'all in.
No doubt. When we talk about the book Side Chickology, we left off the first one. We was dealing with elements in the man cave, and we talked about. By the way, guys, if you have not picked up this book, you need to stop what you're doing right now. Go to the link. We're going to go ahead and put the link in the chat where you can get this book, Side Chickology: Why Do Men and Women Cheat? Understanding, avoiding, being able to recover from this whole process of infidelity. And Jeremiah, I know for you, you did that work of being transparent. You did that work and doing that work of showing up, and without having a model growing up, being able to say, listen, this is where I'm at. I need help. And tell us a little bit about that process, and how can men just become better at, stepping into that light, man?
Yeah, I want to, I guess, touch on something that Alfred said in reference to what looked cool. My cool was having different women, having nice clothes on, having a nice car, X, Y, and Z. However, my cool has changed now. I'm receiving phone calls from men that want to become what I am today. And so for me, setting an example is part of what drives me today as well. Not only just in my marriage, but I want to help people. So I get calls daily, weekly about, what are you guys doing? I just received a call from one of my close friends to introduce you to him as well. So it's those things that kind of it excites me. It makes me happy. So my happiness has changed. Things that didn't make me happy then makes me happy now. I love coming home to a happy family and a home versus it being drama and chaotic. I mean, it's just the perspective of it all has just changed through just doing the work. So I kind of have gained the confidence in being able to keep it going and on and on and on. So even when I have those recollections or those thoughts or those triggers that trigger me, because at the end of the day, if any man tells you that they were dealing with infidelity and they don't have those thoughts, they're lying. At the end of the day, those things happen. It's about what you've done to develop the aspect of you changing that thought process and going a different way. If I see a nice woman, whatever, I'm going the other way because I know what that will do. You know what I'm saying? You're going to look twice. You might turn your head, but in order for you to continue that path, I'm conscious now. At first, it was you just rapidly moving and not having no direction. And now, because I have direction and understanding of what my triggers are, I move different.
I love that. Keith, you left off last time we talked, and you were talking about triggers are normal. And I don't think people understand the perspective that the trigger will actually serve you if you allow it to talk to you as opposed to sending you somewhere. Can you break that down a little bit and talk to us about being able to embrace this trigger, knowing what its job is, and being able to kind of work with it as opposed to allowing it to keep you stuck?
Well, first, I want to say I had the same thing on at the last time.
We all did.
This is part two. So when we went live, we went live, and then we had to get off, and then we decided to keep talking.
One of the things that happened in marriage is just
that's how good this party was.
It's turtle. You just said turtle.
Straight turtle.
So what you saying about the internal part is deep, because the psychology of y'all call it, I love that, the psychology of cheating, right, is very important to understand the why, which is why what Mike said earlier, he keeps bringing up his father. That's a clue for Alicia.
That's good.
Mike needs a father. Even if he can't have his own.
Wow.
He can't have the one who's dead, but he still needs to be fathered.
Yes.
So he's gotta seek that out. He's got to seek it out through somebody spiritual, somebody older than him, and he may have multiple men who serve fatherly roles in his life, who father him in ways that he never got. That's going to be important for all of us to be fathered. And by the way, the person who fathers you doesn't always have to be older than you.
I love it.
It's not about their age; it's about their stage. So
if he's at a different level, put that in the chat. Not about their age.
Like I can have somebody mentor me. Like Alfred's not older than me, but he just showed me how to use my phone. He can father me in certain areas, because you just need somebody who's further along. And it can be business, it can be relationships, it can be marriage, it can be a number of things. It could be just understanding how to be a good father, a dad, what to do with your kids. So that's something he's missing. and it manifests itself
Yes.
in behavior that may seem disconnected.
Got it.
But it's a clue.
Got it.
And I think that's very important to understand. What is the trigger trying to reveal, as you said?
That is
deeply.
good.
Like what is really behind? What's behind what I'm trying to get? Like, we tend to sexualize our deepest emotional needs. We don't know where else to take it. It's just like people wonder why a lot of people who are in affairs, we say they're just nasty. You're just nasty. You're just a dog.
You're
a female dog.
Right.
But really, people get emotionally close to each other, like you.
Yes.
Right.
But we don't know where to go. Where
We
else
don't
to
know
go
what to do
with
that.
Where do I go
That's
with
the
this?
next
Somebody
logical
feels me.
step.
Yes.
And
It's like where else do you take this?
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Particularly, by the way, which is why I write in the book why men and women cheat.
Yes.
Because it's even though men over a course of a lifetime are 7% more likely to cheat or more to do more cheating stuff, it's still women. Most infidelity relationships are heterosexual. So men are cheating with women.
Wow.
But men are called the dogs.
Right.
Wow. We call dogs, but we ain't cheating by ourselves.
Right.
There's always a sister that's available. We just tend to be more serial with ours.
Absolutely.
Than a woman is. Because sometimes a man's infidelity is not just based on emotion. Sometimes it's based on greed.
I love it.
Like, if we had to go to the corral, we ain't just going to eat chicken. Give me the fish and the meatloaf.
Right.
Give me all that.
I want all that. Look, I paid for that.
Absolutely.
Right.
As much as available.
Right.
And if you're a slow developer, like a lot of men who cheat in their older years didn't get a lot of play in high school. So we weren't the dude in junior high, in high school. But then you started getting attention.
Bruh.
Like,
that's
why a lot of infidelity is very immature.
Yes.
It's in cars, it's behind, it's in offices. It ain't even grown up stuff.
Right.
It's little immature stuff.
Right.
Come on, we're in the broom closet.
Right. Let's hurry up. For those of y'all that are just chiming in, y'all trying to figure out what in the world we're talking about.
Man.
No. This is YouTube Live.
You would turn it down.
In the chat. I'm telling you right now, y'all, we're going to go all the way here. I'm talking to my friend Keith Battle. This is Breakfast with the Brookses. If you guys want to know more information about who we are, what we do, I want you to go to www.thecrcoach.com, and that's where you can find out about our MAPS Relationship Academy, where we get a chance to nurture and grow relationships. Keith, I am a firm believer, and I got you, babe. I'm a firm believer that
that's a song too.
I got you, babe.
Yeah,
I got
Sonny
you.
and Cher.
I got you, babe. Babe. No,
but he didn't have her.
No, he didn't. And then that. Ooh. See why I like hanging out with this brother. I can't get 3 words in before it starts. I love it. It's just how you. It's a trigger. It's how you just went with it. Listen, guys, we're talking about doing the work, and I honestly think that the work is something that most people don't want to do because they've never seen it done. And I'm a firm believer that in order for me to, and I think about Mike and him coming to a realization that he's stuck because he didn't have a model. His dad wasn't there. He did the best he could, and most of us have figured it out. But oftentimes we're figuring out it the wrong way, and it shows up in our relationships. Talk to us a little bit about some of the dynamics in the book that's going to help, because I need people to understand this book is a resource. This is not just a good read. It's a page turner. It's a page turner. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, I couldn't put it down. But it is a resource. This is a book that you will always have on your shelf. I will always refer to this as I'm going through this process. I want to talk a little bit about the work. What does it look like, and how do we position ourselves to be able to work through these processes?
Yeah, we keep saying, like, we doing the work. I did the work.
Right.
What's the work?
Right. What's
the work? Give me that work.
So better get this work.
Yeah. So the work starts with a number of things. One is praying together. Like, most people who live in a faith space, you ask them, do you pray? You're like, yeah, I pray every day. Do you pray with your spouse? Nah. But the Bible says in Deuteronomy 32:30, 1 can chase 1,000 and 2 can put 10,000 in flight. That's the power, exponential power of unity.
Yes.
If 1 can chase 1,000, then 2 should only be able to chase 2,000.
Right.
Doing math.
By math.
Right. But when 2 get together, it is exponential.
Sure.
So praying together, just even if you take 60 seconds, just pray over our children. I want to pray over you as you lead together. That is a spiritual connection. That's work.
Yes.
Right.
That's work. You know why it's work? Because we don't do it.
Yep.
Right.
It's not easy.
I'll guarantee you, anybody doing it.
Yep.
People ain't doing
No.
it. The second thing is dating. Like a lot of marriages are in trouble because they don't have any fun.
Yep.
We had a bunch of fun leading up to the marriage.
Right.
In fact, these proposals and these engagements
Bruh.
and these reveals,
Yeah.
it's all this
Yeah.
drama.
As Alvin said, it's fairy tale.
You can have a helicopter engagement and a tricycle marriage. Like
Wow.
if you're not putting the work in,
Wow.
That's some serious.
all that. So with Alfred, for example,
Yes.
he knocked it out of the park. He changed America.
Yes, he
on the wedding.
Yep.
Right.
Y'all
And
have
the
not
engagement.
followed Forever
Right,
Dunk
right.
and go to it. You'll understand.
Where are you going from there?
Bruh, that's
You gotta
the
keep it up here.
You can't come down.
Listen, Keith. It's like
time.
that. Look, I want that dude. I want that dude. It's like when
You
folks
just
go
raised
all the
the
way,
bar.
and I know I'm gonna step on some toes. The prom.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Right?
Yeah.
We
You
will
go all
roll
out.
all the stops out for the prom. But my question is, so if you've taken a Rolls Royce to the prom, what are you going to take to your wedding?
Yeah.
Like, how do you level that up? Like, if you've done all this, and I think that, and Alfred, you probably could speak to this, the fairy tale ends. Like, yes, it was nice. It was fun. You didn't intend for it to be that. But the work that comes in after that is real legit work.
Is I can't express it how.
Look, y'all see his head hanging?
Yeah,
I
I mean
there's a whole
because
posture to this.
so it's funny that the work is a mystery in the sense of we don't know the reward. Like you can't see it with anything else. Like you're willing to work hard at work because you know that at the end, not even at the end of the week, at the end of your career, you're gonna have retirement.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a nice home. You're gonna have this, but no one knows, like, where is this work going to take me? Even if I put in this work, are we still going to, last? Or how happy will my marriage be in 30 or 40 years?
Yeah.
So we're not really willing to put in the kind of work that's needed. Like, even the work that I put in, like, I can't sit here and act like I know that it's going to be successful. What I'm saying is I'm committed to making sure that I put in the work to give it that opportunity.
Anybody want to jump in, Mike? Because I see you chafing at the bit over there.
No, something he said, and this hit me, months ago. A lot of times we're looking for something that we believe is for us. And I think that's where we get stuck because we're thinking from our point of view. And a lot of times our work is not necessarily even for us. It's not even for us.
Wow.
So most times we're not willing to do it.
Ladies, y'all got anything y'all want to add?
The work looks different for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing that I had to learn. And it's very introspective. And like, the wise counsel, we didn't have that.
Right.
We didn't have this community. So and this is how my work was me and God.
Right.
And and God I would be talking to that girlfriend. Girl, I was talking to my mama. Her mother is twice divorced. So I'm getting advice from a single bitter female who's talking to her twice divorced mama, and I'm in a parking lot, because I left home because I'm mad and I'm talking, and then God cuts the phone off. So I called her right back. I said, surely, it's just a bad signal. So we talked for a minute, and God was like, I told you to shut it down. And so that was the thing. I started grabbing clues like, okay, something's not right here. But the work that we had to do was totally different than the work that other people were telling me that we had to do, simply because our assignment was different.
Yes.
And so this work is for us, but it's not just for us.
Right.
And so we had to step beyond that.
I love it, Keith. You something?
Yeah, I got some work that works in every relationship too, regardless of the history. I was working with a couple, and their testimony is nobody that's counseled us told us that we should get married, and nobody that's counseled us since we've been married said that they can help us. They would go to counselor and say, we can't do nothing for y'all. I mean, they would fight in the counseling session.
Wow.
Not physically, but
Yeah.
just it would get so loud that the security would come into the conference room.
Wow.
It's like
Oh,
this.
wow.
So one day I had to do this exercise where they had to write down letters A to Z and come up with a word for every letter that would affirm the other person. They had been so negative in their relationship towards each other, because that's when relationships atrophy to. There's no affirmation.
100%.
We don't praise each other.
100%.
We don't celebrate each other, and so they were either complaining or silent. Silence can be like violence in a marriage.
Yes.
We don't talk at all. So there was no affirmation. So once they started praising each other, so a daily affirmation. Just say, I appreciate this. I appreciate how hard you work. I appreciate how you take care of yourself. I appreciate how beautiful you are.
That's good.
See, the first person that tells our spouse they look good should be the spouse, right? So that they're not hungry walking
For
around
that
the
attention.
office going by the third cubicle to say, because they know the guy said, oh, you sure look beautiful today. You know, her husband should say that. So if we put systemically into our marriages words of affirmation, what it does is it changes the environment.
That's it.
Right.
That's it,
That's
Keith.
Because some environments are not emotionally safe.
100%.
Alfred talked about that. If I can show you my mess, my fears,
Yeah.
my flaws, my failures, my concerns, the things that I'm struggling with, and you not judge me,
Right.
but you also encourage me, or if I can just vent and you not say anything, but what do you need from me?
Wow.
I just wanted to be able to get that out. I don't need any advice, just
Right.
get that out.
Right.
If you want to give me some advice, but don't judge me.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you think a man is closed, you can super close him.
Yes, sir.
He will only open up at a bar with his boys.
That's it. I can't
That's
tell
what
you
it
how
is.
many times we coach men and women, and they literally are like, well, he won't talk. And I'm saying to myself, well, he talks around us all the time. What are you talking about? He won't talk. And what I realized, Cherie, and this is something you did a fantastic job 20 years ago when we got married, because we came from this space, it was like we cheated. People often ask us like, yo, like it can't be that's like y'all look like y'all ain't got no issues. It's like we do, but we go through different. We move different. We go through. Please don't get that twisted.
Right.
But the way we go through, it's just we move differently, and that's some of the things that we try and help people understand. It's possible for you to learn a different way to move, and as a result, when you go through, because you will always go through. You go through differently, and she literally created a space for me to set up shop and just be vulnerable.
Yeah, good.
Like from the dead start, because of what we went through, she was able to say, listen, here's what we ain't gonna do again with each other. We're not gonna do that right there. I just need you to be super authentic, and I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. You ain't gonna get no judgment here, Alfred. You was not in your head.
Yeah, so I have a question for you guys. Maybe you can help me out. But I'm sitting here like listening, and I'm part of the panel, but I'm also just taking in everything, right? Like, if I was on the other end of this, like, it seems like it's not much that's appealing about being married.
Right.
You know, it just seems like
It's not real fun.
yeah, like we're telling them to work, and we're not like, I don't see anything that would make me be like, oh my God, I want that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
I think that's part of the
journey.
it's part of the journey, but it's part of the misconception about marriage. People think you get married and it's just all roses and flowers and unicorns and all that. That's not what marriage is. Marriage is work. Marriage is the closest you're rubbing lives with a person daily. When you bring two people together, they came from different households, from different backgrounds, and you bring them together, there's going to be some rubbing. That's where iron sharpens iron.
right. But what are the roses?
It's work, but like Keith talked about, the dating. When you have a solid relationship, and this is one thing that we stress, is that you got to be friends in your relationship. If you have a friendship, going through the work, going through that, it doesn't seem like work.
Right, and let me
I
answer
think
that
what I'm
question
asking,
directly.
yeah,
Let
is
me answer
what
that
is
question
the
directly.
roses
The
in it, and the
roses is the fact
the
that
unicorn and-
okay,
Where
let me
is the unicorn?
let me make this clear. Let me make this.
Can I have one
Pain to the end.
Let me give you something that I know to be true in our relationship. A rose in our relationship is that Cherie and I don't argue
We disagree.
every day.
We disagree all
Every
the time,
day.
but we don't argue. It
We
doesn't
do
get
not.
ugly.
We've only argued a half dozen times in 20 years. A legit, flat out,
cursing each other
people
out.
fighting like it's a problem.
Okay.
Now,
okay. I think that's a condition, right? I think that you guys have been through that and you've been conditioned to do that. But what I'm asking you is, what kind of feeling do you get because that doesn't happen?
Oh,
like those are the roses.
Okay,
These
well,
are the
I'm
things
glad
that I don't think
it's-
we're
it's
telling
something
people.
y'all hear this? This is good stuff.
And this
What's
goes
that?
back to the excitement of me
That's it,
wanting to come home to my friend every day.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that we tell
The
people.
affirmation that I get from him when I'm coming out the shower and he's like, "Girl, you look good."
Yes.
Me getting that every day, me doing the same thing, complimenting him every day. That's the roses. That's
Okay.
that's the unicorn. That feeling of feeling loved by the person that you're closest to. And I think it all stems back to being friends. When you're friends with somebody, there's a affection you have for that person. There's an affirmation. There's a what's the word I'm looking for? Not I adore him. There's a level of adoration that we have for each other, and that's the roses.
Okay,
that's that unicorn. That feeling of adoration that you receive from your spouse, but that comes with working through the mess.
Right.
And being friends, having a solid relationship. People get married and don't have relationships.
Right.
So
they have a physical relationship or they have a pseudo relationship, but they don't have a real relationship.
Right. One of the other roles is for a man. I don't come home to a house that's not peaceful.
Okay.
Period. When I come home, I want to be there. I know what it's like to not want to come home. In the last 20 years, I've never not wanted to come home. I don't know a better feeling for a man to come home to his castle where he feels like he is the man after he's been beat up all day in every kind of way he could be, and feeling like there's nothing he can do wrong, even while he's doing wrong.
Right.
The way she corrects me, the way she steps to me, the tone that she's using, the fact that when she does get out of pocket, I can say, babe, that just felt a little disrespectful. Where'd that come from? And she's like, let me check that. That's not what I meant by that. Let me tell you what I really meant. And let me tell you why that came across disrespectful. Today, what happened to me is, and da-da-da. So that had nothing to do with you. That's all me. What you want to eat? Like, let's go out. You know, like, and the quick turnaround, like our time, I get, you know, what's, and again, I like that because there are people that are viewing this and they're hearing, I don't hear the fact that our ex, we just went on a cruise with our co-parents.
With his ex-wife.
With my ex-wife and her husband, we all went on a cruise, just the four of us, and cut up for 4 days. What is the rose is the fact that our son at 26 years old got to watch us change on his watch. What's
Whose
a rose?
ex was there?
My ex-wife and her husband,
the one he cheated on,
the one I cheated on 12 times or more, was on a cruise, and the pictures are all up and down Facebook, and it's legit. Will and Jada ain't the only ones, God bless them, that have decent co-parenting relationships, you know, all these different ones. But that's legit. So when you ask that question, and then what the rose is what Jeremiah said earlier, the fact that I get to be an example, and now I got cats that's coming to me saying, no, bro, I need that in my life.
So
that for me is a rose.
okay. Yeah, I understood the rose. I understood it. I just think that we need to
put
also,
that out there.
Put that out there.
Yeah, I love it.
If the audience is single, I think if people are married, they need to know how to do the work. But I mean, even being motivated to do the work, like you said, that's the goal. So I would say one is companionship, right? Like, is there a greater thing you can have in life than a real companion? At the end of the day,
that's
man,
good.
to have a companion. What I notice about older people, the older you get, the more companionship matters. That's why a lot of people die a year. Give it 1 year. When somebody's been with somebody for 50 years or more, they can't live. It's just a companionship, man. To do life with somebody. The Bible says there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. That's now my wife. It's like a brother to me. She'll fight for me. That's you can't. You think about your best boy, your best friend,
your best
in life.
But
this is your partner. So that's one. You also get to have not be conflicted. I can be close to my spouse and never be conflicted. I don't have to have any guilt, any like shame. This ain't right. Like to be with somebody, to have sex with somebody and not have to ask God to forgive you. Like, you only have to be saved. See, only Christians understand my point. Everybody laughing.
Right.
But I done been naked with somebody and said, let me ask the Lord forgive us right now.
Right. We all going to hell just right now.
The sense of belonging.
Right.
Like, here's where I belong. This is family.
Oh, yeah.
For somebody who's been orphaned literally or in other ways.
Yes.
Right.
I belong.
That's
here.
good,
We belong together. To have a lover. The best sex you have is when there's no boundaries in the sense that we can try anything.
Yeah.
We want to try that?
Yeah. Let's
Like, okay, you know.
well, I don't like that.
Think about
no problem.
it. Let's try it. Be careful.
Right.
Laughter.
Right.
Yes.
I love y'all.
Yes.
When you got a spouse and y'all really, my wife and I couldn't joke with each other when the marriage was bad. And I used to see people making fun and joking with their wife. I was like, how they get to do that? It was so fragile. We couldn't even joke. Now we be joning on each other. Go to the bathroom, we can laugh. And then you laugh about stuff that only you two know. Where you gonna get that at? Like, y'all know we got codes and stuff. Code words and stuff. That's a rose. How about memories?
Yes.
Like stuff that y'all go places, it's an instant memory.
Right.
We will always remember that we did last Thursday. Remember that time one day? Remember we got caught stuck. We was riding somebody's convertible one time, and it started raining. We didn't know how to put a convertible up. We just get it soaked, trying to be cool. People laughing at us. Memories, legacy.
Come on,
legacy.
Come on, Kate.
I can only get legacy with my spouse.
Come on now.
Even if we got what you call them bonus kids.
Yeah.
We still doing this.
Like
y'all doing
we got legacy. When we
those are the roses, man.
Yeah, it's funny.
Those are the roses.
When you talk about that,
and
legacy.
it's worth working for.
Yeah,
That's 7 right there. That's what I'm
Right. Listen,
That's great.
On that legacy piece, we were on the cruise, and it was something for the 4 of us to sit down and talk about our 26-year-old son, whom we all raised pretty much together, and laugh at the craziness he done. This, that, and like I'm sitting across the table from my ex. But that's a rose.
Right.
To be able to have that kind of connection, and it's legit, and ain't nobody tripping, and we mad because we couldn't connect with each other the next day because we didn't know if they got off the boat or we stayed on the boat. We turned out we was all on the same. We was on different levels at watching the same movie. And we could communicate. But the point I'm making is that it's legit legacy. It's real. I want to get the ladies kind of in tier. I know you've been kind of laying in the cut, and I know you're a sponge. I want to hear from you guys and talk a little bit about this side Chickology. And I love the Keith. Again, as I'm reading the book, because I'm actually reading it, I'm hearing sort of the undertone of how this happened, and then the work that it takes to guard against it, but then more importantly, to be able to live in the light, so that you can. There's no shame. I think that unfortunately, infidelity is allowed to live because of the shame that's associated with the guilt that you screwed up. You get what I'm saying? So now that's gone on to shame. I know you ain't got no shame in your game. You are able to freely talk about it. You have a voice today, Alicia. I know you well enough that y'all's voices are loud. They're direct. And they're embraced by your men in ways that, quite frankly, just make us better. And I just like y'all to kind of speak to the sister who's struggling, whether she's done it or whether it's been done to her, to find her voice and to be able to figure that out.
Well, I want to start off with first. I think that one thing that people have to realize is that infidelity normally does not start. It's not about sex. And I think that often ladies look at their men that they're doing it's just about sex. It's about a void that needs to be filled, whether it's they're not getting attention or they feel like they're not getting attention, or there's something that they feel like they're missing. And so I think that part of one thing, and we talked about this, is that my responsibility as a wife is to make sure that I'm affirming my husband, that I'm doing those things to try to fill it. No, I'm not responsible if he goes out and commits infidelity, because he gets to make his own choices, but I do have to create the environment, have a safe space for him at home, make him, have an environment where he wants to come home. If I'm being that B and he doesn't want to come home because I'm constantly nagging, I'm being mean, I'm being nasty, I do have to shoulder some of that because I haven't created a space for him. Now, I did not make him do it. I did not push him out there, but I wasn't being receptive to him. I wasn't being open, and I think that oftentimes we are so quick to completely put it off on them and think that it's about sex, and it's not about sex. It usually it can turn into a physical affair, but oftentimes it starts emotionally,
right? Because
there's an emotional need.
So speak to the voice part, babe, in terms of you being able to show up, though, now that you know that truth, and kind of speak from a place of security and say, listen, this is how you can switch up, this is how you can change. And I love what you're saying is that you get to own the part of creating an environment that gives me the want to behind doing right.
I think that's why, just being open and communicating with your spouse, you have to know what their needs are, what they need, and being able to fill your part of that. And if you see that there's something going on, I think you got to be aware in relationships, because oftentimes people are like, I had no idea. You had an idea. You saw something. You saw signs. And don't turn a blind eye to what you're seeing, because oftentimes
I love that right there.
If you
see what you see,
recognize and acknowledge what you're seeing in the beginning, you can help to avert that. Because Keith said, when men get caught, that's when they usually stop. if I see that you're going down a path, also if say I'm seeing your pattern is changing, there's some irregularities there. If I just ignore it and don't say anything, it's going to keep going. But if I address it and I'm like, that seemed a little off.
And you've done that a gazillion times.
Right. And so if I address that, if I come outside of my comfort zone and I'm not necessarily being, accusing you, but I'm questioning things that are irregular, then that might be a spark enough for you to say, hold up, let me back up, let me slow down, and I can help divert that, or at least you going in the back of your mind, you're going to be thinking, oh, she might know something. Absolutely. I love it. Ladies, anything y'all want to add real quick?
Just pray, watch and pray.
I love it. To that particular?
I think you said in terms of being able to share our story and being a voice.
Yeah.
I know that for me, I think I realized how powerful shame was. And even though we're on the other side, like I still, initially when we started sharing our story, I had a lot of reluctance because I'm like, okay, we worked through it, but if I put our business out there and he reverts back to his old self, I'll be embarrassed. And I realized that the more we came into the light and the more work we did, the more it even holds us accountable now.
Right.
And just allowing people and opening that space up to people, like it really holds us accountable, and it has changed our life. Had I lived in that place of like being scared or it was just holding both of us captive. So for me, it's like the more we come out, the more we talk about it, the more we level up, the more we grow.
I love that.
And we now get to share our story with other people, and when we see, it really helped us. So the more that we share, the more we change and the more we help other people. And I knew that I didn't want to be a prisoner to our past.
Ooh, I love it. I don't want to be a prisoner to our past. Alicia?
I know for us, I like that. The fear, the shame piece. Initially, I think we were, you guys were the first one that we ever told the bulk of our story with. And that was also a concern for me. I was like, if this turn around and we crash and burn, everything going down, But the more that we're out and the more that we work together, it opens up communication. We're closer. Like you don't see a Mike without an Alicia. You don't see an Alicia without a Mike. And so that solidifies the relationship even more. And our case was where I stepped out first, and then he got back real good. And so that was the whole thing with me. Another thing with being out, because of the work that I do, and meeting new people and everything, that was one of my concerns, because now we have an open book, and so I wanted to see pictures of every single person. So if I run across one of these chicks in my programs or something, I need to know who she is. But that was the whole thing. Now those things don't concern me anymore, because we're growing together, we're working together, and we're addressing our triggers and things as they come up. Like the shelf life on stuff is real, we just get through it real quick. So
when you think about it, so anybody that's been in an extramarital relationship, or by the way, 40% of non-marriages admit to infidelity or cheating. So even people who have a significant other, there's still cheating going on.
Right.
So think about this, right? That takes work.
Sure it does. Absolutely.
I mean, you got to set stuff up. You got to groom it.
It takes a lot of money.
It takes time to actually cheat. Then you got to cover it up. It's like another job. Right?
Keep covering it up.
Keep covering it. Absolutely.
But then all the you wear your best stuff. You smell your best. You're always fresh. You're on top of your game. I'm saying. The work, so people feel like, man, marriage is so hard. It ain't no harder than that. We put that kind of work
in our marriage.
It'd be a situation this would be a stellar marriage.
Turn your marriage into an affair. You know what I mean? Turn that up.
That's right.
Turn that up.
Right.
Role play.
Let me get another phone just for you.
I
ain't gonna let you know I got another phone.
Girl, you need Vicky or you need Keisha.
Which one you need? I know that's. I need her to show up.
Wow,
hey,
Keisha. You know what I'm saying? Because any woman that's capable of being unfaithful is capable of being as flirtatious and all that sexy with her own man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
it's
sir.
just all those. See, the people we married to annoy us. there's that level of, and we got the history there, so we don't want to open up. We talk so fluently with the person that we're cheating with and all that. I'm just saying, just flip that energy around and put that same work into marriage.
I love that. Guys, we are coming up to the end of part 2, the after party. Obviously, we've done gone all the way in. I hope you guys are engaging. And here's what I want to do. If you have questions, continue to show up. Engage the process. We'll answer the questions. I need you to pick up this book, Side Chickology. It is why men and women cheat, understanding, avoiding, and recovering from infidelity. Keith, you put together, I believe, a timeless piece with this book, and anything that we can do here with what we do to promote this kind of stuff is not too much because of what we see on a regular basis. People don't know how to bounce back.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know. People know how to go through, but they don't know how to get through.
Yeah,
I promise you. And I think that we need forums like this more often, where women are willing to step up, say their truth, speak to it, and figure out what does the road back look like. Anybody got anything additional they want to share as we wrap up today? Please feel free forum, just to share any wisdom that you can share with people who may be going through this. Keith, any closing remarks that you would want people to know?
So the book talks about how it happens, what the pathology of infidelity is. What I started seeing is, in over 30 years of being in a marriage, counseling people in ministry, there's similar patterns that happen in there's signs.
Yes, sir.
Right.
100%.
There's signs that you're heading in that direction. And they're similar. And many times those signs are harmless. They're like blessings, like the addition of children, a promotion, a bigger house, a nicer car.
Yeah.
Whatever is going to take our time away from each other can be a barrier to the intimacy in the relationship.
Wow.
And whenever intimacy is lost in a relationship, we become open to relationships with other people and other things. So it talks about how it unfolds, how it's developed, how it's nurtured, how the game is played.
Yep.
But then the consequences. You say we had a lot of fun here and laughter, but I deal with several chapters about the cost of infidelity, the financial cost, the emotional cost. Sometimes people lose their lives.
Yeah.
This is no game. You mess with somebody's wife, you might get killed.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's no, and you may not recover professionally.
Yep.
If you run a company, see, America is judgmental, right?
Right.
They don't. Most people in America cheat, but they don't want anybody in leadership to be cheating.
Right.
So if you run a company,
Say that again.
if you're on television, if you lead a church, lead a program, there's no room for you.
Right.
So there's so much to lose.
Right.
But then we talk about how to recover when this happened. Because my friend in Grapevine, Texas, her name is Debbie Wade. She says 80% of marriages that suffer from infidelity have survived it. 80% of marriages actually survive infidelity.
Wow.
They just don't talk about it.
That's huge.
But I guarantee you, if you get somebody to open up, most people who've been married, there's somebody cheated.
Yes.
It can be virtual, it can be verbal, it can be Facebook friending, it can be a bunch of stuff.
doubt.
It may not have gone all the way to a bed, but it was some infidelity.
Wow.
80% survive it.
Yes.
Right.
Just because you survive it don't mean you really recovered from it.
Or thrive.
Exactly.
Right.
So we talk about, if you're in that situation, go straight to chapter 11. In chapter 11, they talk about a recovery plan. What happens what is the process or in chapter 6, when a woman gets a call from a side chick? Because sometimes the side chick will expose it.
Wow.
When she finds out that the dude been cheating on her too.
Wow.
How about that?
That is crazy.
She got a nerve to be offended.
Right.
When she
You
cheated on me too.
And you cheated on me? Oh,
Yeah. I'm gonna tell your wife. I'm gonna tell your wife.
That's exactly what she said.
I'm gonna tell your wife.
I'm
Hello.
Y'all,
I can't tell you what this is,
but I'm gonna tell you this: your
From
husband
woman-
ain't right.
from woman to woman.
I need you to understand this.
So the book goes a lot of places,
Man, I appreciate
and
it.
it's an emotional journey, but
Yes.
I think it with transparency, some humor, but a lot of seriousness. We talk about ways of getting through it,
One
and
of the-
getting around, and avoiding it.
I
For
love
the
it.
person who's out there, because some people say, "I don't need it." You might want to get some warning. Maybe we can scare some people enough,
Yeah.
like
Right.
Alfred.
Yeah.
Like Alfred been
Scared
faithful.
straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just wanna
Well,
keep
now, I
them
just want to be
scared.
clear though. This is the first relationship that I've been faithful in.
Okay.
Right, but it's your first marriage.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So
So
yeah,
we hoping
continue
you
to
get
scare
to the
me.
finish line.
No,
Clean.
we
Yeah,
try
I
to
feel
You
you.
so clean, you squeak when you
Right. One of the things that you do in this book, Keith, that I think is extraordinarily not only brilliant, but I think is needed, and I don't think most of us put the kind of cachet or confidence in the ability to affirm. You rubbing all
precipice.
All that. That was in the first. You made something up. Right. So the truth is you put affirmations in at the end of every chapter, and I love this because it kind of helps you to reinforce. I think words are powerful. I think that guy had it exactly right. We said words are spirit in their life, and the problem is that we don't speak enough life over our situation. One of the affirmations you put in it just kind of stuck out. It says, "I will make time to give loving attention to my spouse." That word "make" denotes for me that it's going to take work. Absolutely. I will create something out of nothing. I will intentionally show up to create a space to be able to give you loving attention. I will put reminders on my calendar to connect with my spouse and meet his or her physical and emotional needs. And I think, unfortunately, man, most people don't consider this real enough until we get caught that we need to. I mean, you forever, as much as work we do in the other lives of other people, Cherie is my accountability. She's like, okay, you gave enough to them. What we gonna do? What we doing today? And it means outside of maps, outside of breakfast, outside of writing, and that sort of stuff. So I think it's just important for us to continue to affirm one another in our relationships. Anybody else got anything quick? We're pretty much done. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody.
I just wanted to add one last piece. I truly believe that most couples can survive infidelity.
100%.
If you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to be transparent, you can survive it. It doesn't have to be the end. And unfortunately, I think most people, because of the shame, that's what causes people to quit. It's because of the shame, because they're worried about what other people going to say, what my family going to think, what my friends going to think. Don't worry about that and focus on rebuilding the relationship. It's going to take time to rebuild the trust, but it can be done. And I think if people really commit to doing the work, and if you do the work on the front end, like Keith said, safeguarded in the sense of that you know what those triggers are, you know what to look for, that you can kind of help prevent it from ever happening or at least divert it. I think you have a great chance to be able to survive it.
Guys, the book is Side Chickology. Go get it. We just want to leave you guys with something that we always say at the end of every way we sign off. I really do not believe that if you're going to get to a place of significance in any area of your life, that you can do that by yourself. At the end of the day, guys, we all need some help. Y'all be good. We'll talk soon.
Nobody prepped me.
All right, well, since nobody prepped Alfred, we're gonna say that again.
Okay.
All right, let's do a double take. This is take 2 for those of y'all that are hearing this live. We're gonna do a take 2. Hit rewind.
You got out of rap.
Right. At the end of the day, guys, here's what I know to be true. We all need some help. Y'all be good. We'll talk soon.
You know it too? You know it already?
No, I did it earlier.
Okay.